great day to everyone. Here with you again is Maestra Rhea in my channel, Maestra Rhea. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're here again to share to you a topic which is coming from a request from one of our commenters in my first video. And she asked if I could explain to her when to use could, would, and should. These words are called modal verbs. And modal verbs are special types of verbs which suggest or function based on ability, permission, necessity, obligation, and more. Now these modal verbs are special types of verbs because of what they suggest when they are used in the sentence. At the same time, these three words are examples of what we call also as helping verbs or auxiliary verbs. They are auxiliary verbs and helping verbs because they help the main verb in a sentence. But our focus more here is on how they are used in a sentence and what do they suggest in a sentence. She asked for 3. I actually gave a bonus. I will be giving a bonus, I should say. I would be giving a bonus which is ought to, which is actually less commonly used. But this is only to show the difference also between ought to and should. So let's start off with the first modal verb. Okay, the modal verb could. So the modal verb could is used to suggest ability, possibility, and suggestion. The suggestion we could also include a polite request, right? So let's have an example of sentences where we can make use of could that would suggest ability, possibility, and suggestion or a polite request. So let's start with the first one. Could, to show ability. I could play Mobile Legends for 5 hours straight. Could. In this sentence, could is used to show the ability of the person to play Mobile Legends 5 hours straight. Right? So could is used to show ability, to suggest ability. Second, for possibility, I could visit you this morning if I will not have any task to do in the office. Possibility. So it would suggest that something may be done but may not also be done for some reasons. So there is what we call as the if statement there, or the if clause there. If I don't have any task to do at the office. Okay, so you make use of could to show the possibility that an action could be done or can be done. So possibility. I could draw you perfectly if I have the skill. Okay, something like that. So possibility. So that's the second function of could, or that's the second way on how we can make use of the modal verb could. So the third one is on suggestion. Okay, like when suggestion or what we call as the polite request. Okay, example of a statement there. Could you pass on the stack of books from that table? Could you pass on? So you're actually suggesting if this can be done. Okay, so it goes hand in hand with the possibility, but the meaning also suggests. So that's how we can make use of the modal verb could. Now on the second modal, the modal would. So the modal would can be used to suggest desire, preference, willingness to do something, and or if you're stating a hypothetical condition or statement. How can we use this modal verb would in this function? So let's start first with a desire. I would love to drink a very hot coffee in this very cold weather. Desire. I would like to go to Paris someday. Okay? So desire. As to the preference, example of a sentence, the word itself, preference, choice. Okay? So, I would read books than go gallivanting. Okay? I would rather eat cake than that carrot. Eat with a carrot. Eat carrot. Okay? So, preference. So, you use would. Okay? When you also want to suggest that you're willing to do something, I would be there tonight. So, that means you're promising that you're going to do something with willingness. How about if we're talking about hypothetical condition? This is with the if clause, just the same. It's almost the same as that with the could. Okay? In a hypothetical condition or hypothetical situation, we use the would this way. If I were given the chance to see Lee Dong-wook, I would hug him as if I'm not going to free him anymore. Okay, that is hypothetical situation. So you're showing already here a hypothetical condition. What if it happens? So it's an if clause, right? So that's when we make use of the modal verb would. Now let's go to the third modal verb, should. Should, from the term itself, it suggests obligation. Okay, so when you use the modal verb should, know very well that we are trying to emphasize a task or an obligation here. Obligation. The second that would be suggested for should would be on recommendation or suggestion. It can also be used to recommend or to show suggestion. And when you're going to give a piece of advice, so you can also make use of should. Alright, so how are these used in these different ways? So should, as an obligation, I should review so that I will pass the exam tomorrow. Okay, I should review to pass the exam tomorrow. I should wear my ID when going to school. Okay, recommendation, how about that's for obligation, so it's a task, it's something that you must do, right? And as used to show recommendation or suggestion, okay, you can say you should take some time to rest. So it's a recommendation or a suggestion. It can also be a piece of advice. Okay, now how about if you're using would to show advice? You should keep in mind to practice every day. That's actually an advice. It can be, it can suggest a decision, okay, to be made by the person spoken to, right? So that is how we make use of the modal verb should. Now we have one more, a bonus, shall I say, and that is on the modal verb ought to. Actually, ought to functions the same as that of should. The only difference is that ought to is less commonly used in statements. Plus, ought to is a modal verb which is used in formal setups, formal writing, and formal spoken task. Okay, you use ought to. Ought to is used in formal setup compared to should. So that's the only difference, but they have the same function, showing obligation. You ought to take the exam, the board exam, to be able to have a powerful factor for work. Okay, ought to. So the same function. So these are your 4 modal verbs. So I hope that our commenter, Miss Judith, would be able to understand now how to make use of these modal verbs in your day-to-day written activities and spoken activities also. So if you have enjoyed this video and if you've learned a lot, please do share to your friends. But please don't forget also to click on the subscribe button in my channel and watch as many videos. There are so many other videos that I can provide. Please click on the subscribe button and then keep watching. Share to your friends as well. Thank you until our next discussion.